I'll write an expanded version of Part 1 in third-person style using simple English. Here's the story without any headings. The blue-white light of the transport beam faded, leaving Mina standing alone at the edge of a gravel path. She blinked, her large silver eyes, and adjusted the thin collar of her uniform. This was her first assignment as a junior diplomat from Solara, and she was determined not to fail. Earth looked different from the pictures in her training modules. The trees were taller, the air smelled stronger, and the gravity pulled at her, slender frame in an unfamiliar way. Mina checked her translator device and the small map that showed her destination, a human dwelling at the end of this path. "Just walk normally," she whispered to herself. Humans appreciate confidence. Her people, the Solarians, had only made official contact with Earth 3 years ago. This cultural exchange program was meant to build better understanding between their worlds. Mina had been chosen because of her studies in alien biology, though her knowledge of humans remained mostly theoretical. The path curved through a stand of tall trees. Mina's steps crunched on the gravel as she walked toward a small wooden structure ahead. According to her briefing, she would be staying with a human named June, a wildlife biologist who studied Earth's natural creatures. On Solara, animals were either wild and dangerous, kept safely in research facilities, or artificially created to perform specific tasks. The concept of living alongside other species was foreign and somewhat frightening to Mina. As she approached the wooden house, a strange sound broke the quiet. It was deep and loud. "Woof!" followed by another "Woof!" Mina froze. Her training hadn't covered this particular sound. "Hello?" she called out, her translator converting her words to Earth's most common language. "I am Diplomat Mina from Solara. I believe I am expected." The door to the house swung open. A human stood there, male, average height, with friendly eyes and dark hair. This must be June. He smiled and raised a hand in greeting. "Welcome to Earth." "I'm June. It's great to finally meet you," he said. "Sorry about the noise, that's just—" But before he could finish, something enormous moved behind him in the doorway. A massive creature with thick black fur, a broad head, and a mouth that looked capable of swallowing Mina's arm in one bite. Mina's eyes widened in horror. Her training flashed through her mind. No records indicated humans kept large predators in their living spaces. This had to be a mistake or a terrible danger. "Predator!" she screamed, fumbling at her belt for her personal shield generator. Her fingers found the small disc, and she slammed it against her chest. A thin blue energy field flickered to life. Around her body, June's smile dropped, replaced by a look of confusion. "Wait, what?" The massive beast pushed past him and took a step toward Mina. It was huge, at least 150 pounds of muscle and fur. Its mouth opened, revealing rows of sharp teeth. Mina backed away, her shield humming. "Please control your attack, creature. Come in peace. I am a diplomatic representative." To her surprise, June started laughing. The beast stopped advancing and tilted its head to one side, a long pink tongue lolling from its mouth. "Attack, creature." No, this is Buddy, my dog," June explained, patting the animal's massive head. "He's a Newfoundland. They're known for being gentle giants." "Dog?" Mina repeated the unfamiliar word. Her translator offered no Solarian equivalent. "Yes, a pet. A companion animal," June said, still smiling. "Don't you have pets on Solara?" Mina stared in disbelief, her shield still humming. "You keep a predator? In your home? Voluntarily?" "He's not a predator." "Well, his ancestors were wolves thousands of years ago, but dogs have been living with humans for at least 15,000 years. They're domesticated." The concept was so alien to Mina that she struggled to process it. On her world, no one would dream of sharing living space with a creature with teeth like that. "Is it safe?" she asked, not deactivating her shield. "Completely. Here, watch." June knelt beside the huge animal and wrapped his arms around its neck in what would be a vulnerable position for any Solarian facing a wild beast. The dog responded by licking June's face, causing him to laugh. Mina remained frozen, unconvinced. The dog, Buddy, turned his attention back to her and made a soft woof sound. "He wants to meet you," June explained. "I promise he's friendly." You can keep your shield on if it makes you feel better, but you're going to be seeing a lot of each other during your stay." Mina swallowed hard. Her first day on Earth, and already she was facing something completely unexpected. This wasn't in any of her training materials. How could humans live with predators and call them pets? I will try," she said finally, though she made no move to deactivate her shield. "But perhaps we could begin with some distance between myself and your dog." June nodded understandingly. "Of course. Let's get you settled inside first. Buddy, back up a bit. Give our guest some space." To Mina's amazement, the beast actually obeyed, stepping back and sitting down, though its eyes remained fixed on her with what seemed like curiosity. Her first diplomatic challenge on Earth, Mina realized, would not be understanding humans, but understanding why humans chose to share their homes with monsters they called dogs. Mina sat stiffly on the edge of the couch, her posture perfect as June placed a cup of steaming liquid on the table before her. Her eyes never left the massive black dog sprawled across the floor on the opposite side of the room. "It's just tea," June explained, seeing her hesitation. "And Buddy will stay right where he is, I promise." Mina nodded but didn't relax. "On Solara, we do not allow wild animals in our living spaces. It is unusual to see." June settled into an armchair and smiled. "Buddy isn't wild. Dogs have been domesticated for thousands of years. They evolved alongside humans." "Evolved alongside?" Mina's translator struggled with the concept. "Yes, long ago some wolves began living near human settlements. The friendlier ones got food from humans. Over many generations, they changed. They became dogs." Mina sipped her tea cautiously. "And you trust this creature not to revert to its wild nature?" As if understanding her words, Buddy lifted his massive head and gave a soft whine. June laughed. "He wants to come say hello." "May I show you something that might help you understand?" Mina hesitated, then nodded. Joan patted his leg, and the enormous dog lumbered to his side. "Watch this," June said. He made a hand gesture. "Buddy, sit." The dog sat immediately. "Lie down." Buddy flopped onto his belly. "Roll over." The massive animal rolled onto his back, exposing his stomach in what Mina recognized as a vulnerable position. "Good boy," June praised, rubbing the dog's belly. Buddy's tail thumped against the floor in obvious pleasure. "You control him with words," Mina observed, leaning forward slightly. "Like our artificial servants?" "Not exactly. Dogs choose to listen because they want to please us. It's a partnership, not control." That night, Mina sent her first report back to Solara. She sat in her room, door firmly closed against any potential canine intrusion, and recorded her observations. "Humans have formed voluntary symbiotic relationships with descendants of apex predators," she explained into her communication device. "They call these animals pets and allow them unrestricted access to their dwellings. The creatures appear to serve no practical purpose beyond companionship." The reply came almost immediately. "Is this arrangement safe? Are you in danger?" Mina considered the question. "Unknown at this time. I will continue to observe." The following morning, Mina awoke to a strange sound outside her door. A snuffling followed by a soft whine. She froze, pulling her blanket tighter. "Buddy, leave her alone," came June's voice from down the hall. The snuffling stopped. When Mina finally emerged, she found June in the kitchen area preparing food. The massive dog sat beside him, watching intently. "He was checking on you," June explained. "Dogs are protective of their pack members." "I am not part of his pack," Mina said firmly. "You're in his home. To him, that makes you pack." Later that day, as June worked at his desk, Mina observed something peculiar. The dog brought a small object to June, a ball, and dropped it at his feet. "Not now, Buddy," June said, focused on his screen. The dog nudged the ball closer with his nose and made a soft sound. "Fine. Just once," June sighed, picking up the ball. He threw it across the room. Buddy bounded after it, returning it immediately. "You play games with your predator?" Mina asked, bewildered. "He's not a predator, he's a dog," June corrected. "And yes, play is important for them. Want to try?" Mina shook her head quickly. That evening, June prepared dinner while Mina watched from a safe distance. Buddy lay on the floor, seemingly asleep, until a small piece of food fell. In an instant, the dog was there, consuming it. "See? Still a predator," Mina pointed out. "He's an opportunist," June laughed. "Most animals are." After dinner, June sat on the couch and patted the space beside him. To Mina's horror, Buddy jumped up and settled half on June's lap, despite weighing perhaps half as much as the human. "This can't be comfortable," Mina observed. "It's not about comfort, it's about connection," June explained, stroking the dog's fur. "Humans and dogs have a special bond. We understand each other in ways that go beyond words." That night, Mina's second report to her superiors was longer and more confused. Humans appear to derive emotional satisfaction from these animals. They engage in purposeless activities together. The human speaks to the animal as though it understands complex language, though it clearly does not. Most concerning, the human allows the massive creature unrestricted physical contact, including during rest periods. The reply was immediate and alarming. "This behavior suggests possible neural contamination. Prepare for emergency extraction." Mina frowned at the message. Was she missing something? Were all humans like June, forming these strange bonds with potential predators? Or was this an anomaly she had stumbled upon? She would need more data before allowing her superiors to draw conclusions that could affect diplomatic relations. Tomorrow, she decided she would ask June to explain more about this strange human custom of pets. The sky darkened suddenly that afternoon, turning an ominous shade of grey-green that Mina had never seen before. She stood by the window of June's cottage, watching as the tall trees began to sway violently in the wind. "What is happening?" "She asked, her voice rising slightly, as thunder rumbled in the distance. June looked up from his work. "Just a summer storm. They can get pretty intense out here in the mountains, but this cabin has weathered worse." Mina's species evolved on a planet with minimal weather variation. The concept of violent atmospheric disturbances was foreign and frightening to her. "How long will it last?" "Hard to say. The forecast mentioned it could be severe." June checked his phone. "I'd better go into town quickly for some extra supplies, just in case. The power sometimes goes out during big storms." Mina turned from the window, alarmed. "You're leaving? Just for an hour. Buddy will stay with you." June grabbed his keys and raincoat. "The storm's still a few miles away. I'll be back before it hits full force." Before Mina could protest, June was gone, the door closing firmly behind him. She stood frozen in the middle of the room, suddenly aware that she was alone with the massive dog. Buddy lay on his bed in the corner, watching her with dark eyes. "Stay there," she told him firmly, pointing a slender finger. "I will be in my room." Mina retreated to her small bedroom, closing the door. Through the window she watched as the storm approached. The wind grew stronger, bending tree branches at alarming angles. Then came the rain, not gentle drops but sheets of water slamming against the glass. A brilliant flash of light filled the room, followed almost immediately by a deafening crack that made Mina jump. The lights flickered once, twice, and then went out completely. Darkness. Mina fumbled for her communication device, activating its soft glow. The temperature display showed the room cooling rapidly without the heating system. Solarians were sensitive to cold, their homeworld being significantly warmer than Earth. Another crash of thunder, closer this time. Mina pulled a blanket around her shoulders, but it did little to help. Without power, the cottage was growing colder by the minute. Her body began to tremble, a warning sign of temperature distress for her species. A soft scratching came at her door. Mina froze. The dog. She had forgotten about him. "Go away," she called, her voice shaking. The scratching continued, followed by a low whine. "I said, go away." Her translator rendered her fear as anger. There was silence for a moment. Then, to her horror, the door handle turned. Mina had forgotten that unlike doors on Solara, Earth doors had simple mechanical latches. The door swung open, revealing Buddy's massive form silhouetted against the dim light from the windows. Mina pressed herself against the headboard. "Stay back!" Buddy tilted his head, studying her with what seemed like concern. He padded forward, slowly, his nails clicking on the wooden floor. "Please," Mina whispered, trembling harder now from both cold and fear. "I don't want to be eaten." Buddy stopped at the edge of the bed. Then, with surprising gentleness for such a large animal, He jumped up beside her. Mina stiffened, expecting an attack. Instead, the massive dog simply curled his body around hers, his thick fur pressing against her side. Warmth. Immediate, radiating warmth. Mina sat rigid for several long minutes, barely breathing. Buddy remained still except for his steady breathing. Gradually, she realized two things. First, the dog wasn't attacking her, and second, her trembling was subsiding as his body heat warmed her. "You are providing thermal regulation," she said aloud, wondering if the creature somehow understood. Buddy looked up at her, then rested his head on his paws, staying close. His fur was softer than she had expected, and incredibly warm. As the storm raged outside, Mina's fear slowly gave way to curiosity. Cautiously, she extended a hand toward the dog's head. Buddy didn't move, allowing her fingers to lightly touch his fur. "Your coat has evolved for insulation in cold environments," she observed, speaking to calm herself. "Logical for a species from northern Earth regions." Her hand moved slightly, and Buddy responded by pressing his head against her palm. The sensation was not unpleasant. "Is this why humans keep you?" she asked softly. "For warmth during weather anomalies." The storm continued for another hour before Mina heard the sound of a vehicle approaching. Soon after, the front door opened. "Mina, are you okay?" June called, his voice tight with worry. "Sorry it took so long. The roads were flooded." "In here," she answered. June appeared in the doorway, flashlight in hand. He stopped, surprised by what he saw. The alien diplomat sitting on the bed, one hand resting on Buddy's head, no longer trembling despite the cold room. "The power failed," Mina explained. "The temperature dropped to levels uncomfortable for my physiology." June smiled, setting down his bags. "And Buddy came to keep you warm?" Mina nodded slowly. "I think your predator may be defective," she said, her fingers still absently stroking the dog's fur. "It seems to care about my well-being. That is not normal predator behavior." "It's normal dog behavior," June replied, unpacking emergency supplies. "They're pack animals. They look after their own. But I am not part of his pack. I am not even the same species. Doesn't matter to Buddy." June glanced at them with a knowing smile. Dogs have a special gift for caring about others, regardless of who or what they are. Mina considered this as she watched Buddy, who hadn't moved from her side despite June's return. "Perhaps," she admitted quietly, "there is more to understand about these Earth companions than I initially believed." The days following the storm marked a turning point in Mina's Earth experience. Each morning she woke with a new question about Buddy and the strange relationship humans had with these creatures called dogs. June found her one morning surrounded by tablets and screens, her silver eyes fixed intently on images of wolves. "They look dangerous," she noted as June entered. "Yet you say these are the ancestors of Buddy." June nodded, pouring himself coffee. "About 15,000 years ago, some wolves began living near human settlements. The friendlier ones got scraps of food. Over generations they changed." Mina swiped through more images. "Humans deliberately altered another species to serve them." "Not exactly. It was more of a partnership that evolved naturally at first. Both species benefited." Mina spent days researching, fascinated by what she discovered. Humans hadn't just domesticated dogs. They had formed bonds with cats, horses, birds, and dozens of other species. Nothing like this existed on any other known world. On Solara and other planets in the Galactic Alliance, creatures existed to be studied or to serve specific functions, never as companions. "What is this behavior called?" she asked June one evening as they sat on the porch. Buddy lay at their feet, occasionally lifting his head when wildlife rustled in the nearby bushes. "Which behavior?" "The tendency of humans to form emotional attachments to non-human species." June thought for a moment. "I'm not sure there's a specific term. It's just part of being human, I guess." A week later, Mina did something that surprised even herself. When Buddy brought her the ball, a behavior she had observed countless times between the dog and June, she took it from his mouth and threw it across the yard. Buddy bounded after it, his massive body surprisingly graceful, and returned with the ball. His eyes seemed to hold genuine joy at this simple exchange. Mina threw the ball again and felt an unexpected warmth in her chest when Buddy returned. "So this is play," she murmured, throwing the ball a third time. She didn't notice the sleek silver transport vessel landing beyond the trees, nor the three tall figures in formal Solarian uniforms approaching until they were nearly at the porch. "Diplomat Mina," called a stern voice. Mina turned. The ball, still in her hand, to find Senior Diplomat Tay and two security officers staring at her in obvious shock. "What are you doing?" Tay demanded, his translator not hiding his disgust. Buddy returned with the ball, dropping it at Mina's feet. The security officers immediately raised their defense wands. "Stand back from the predator," one shouted. "No," Mina stepped in front of Buddy. "He is not dangerous. This is a domesticated Earth canine. His name is Buddy." Tai's expression hardened. "You named a wild animal? Your reports have become increasingly concerning. We feared neural contamination, but this is worse than expected." "There is no contamination," Mina protested. "I've been researching human-animal relationships. It's a fascinating evolutionary development unique to Earth." "Playing with predators is not research," Tay said coldly. "It's behavior indicative of mental instability. You will return to Solara immediately for psychological evaluation." June, hearing the commotion, emerged from the house. "What's happening?" Tay barely glanced at him. "This is Solarian diplomatic business. Your exchange program with Diplomat Mina is terminated." "You can't just take her," June protested. "She's in the middle of important cultural research." "Throwing objects for a predator to chase is not research," Tay replied dismissively. Mina straightened to her full height. "The relationship between humans and other species is essential to understanding Earth culture. Humans are the only known species in the galaxy to form deep bonds with other life forms." "And why do you think that is?" Tay asked with a sneer. "All other advanced civilizations evolved beyond such primitive attachments." "Or perhaps," June interjected, stepping forward, "it's what makes humans special. Our ability to connect with other species has shaped our development in unique ways." Tay turned to Mina. "Gather your belongings. The security team will escort you to the transport." Mina looked down at Buddy, who sensed the tension and pressed against her leg protectively. She remembered his warmth during the storm, his gentle eyes the simple joy of throwing the ball. Was this just primitive behavior, as Tay suggested? Or was there something profound here that Solarians had never experienced? "I wish to complete my diplomatic assignment," she said firmly. "The human-animal bond is crucial to understanding Earth. Terminating my research now would damage our knowledge of human culture." "Your judgment is compromised," Tay insisted. "Playing games with apex predators is not diplomatic work." June stepped forward. "With respect, Senior Diplomat, you're missing something important. The way humans connect with animals reveals a fundamental truth about us. If Solarians can't understand this aspect of humanity, how can our worlds truly form an alliance?" Buddy, sensing the tension, gave a low, soft growl. Not threatening, but protective. Tay stepped back in alarm. "You see? The creature is aggressive." "No," Mina said, placing a calming hand on Buddy's head. "He's protective. There's a difference. One that matters deeply if we want to understand humans." She looked directly at Tay. "And I intend to understand." The morning after the delegation's arrival, Mina requested a formal hearing. The Solarians gathered in June's living room, uncomfortable in the rustic setting. Senior Diplomat Tai sat rigidly in an armchair, flanked by the two security officers. Buddy lay at Mina's feet, occasionally glancing up at the visitors. "I wish to present my research findings," Mina began, activating her tablet. Images appeared in the air between them. Wolves running in packs, ancient cave paintings of humans hunting alongside dogs, and historical depictions of animals working with humans. What Solarians see as weakness is actually humanity's greatest strength, she explained. Their ability to form bonds with other species has enhanced their survival since prehistoric times. Tay frowned. A technological species should not need such primitive arrangements. "Technology isn't everything," Mina countered. "Observe these statistics." New images appeared, charts showing how therapy animals reduced human stress hormones, improved recovery rates in hospitals, and helped children with learning differences. Humans create emotional connections that benefit both species, she continued. This capacity for cross-species empathy has extraordinary implications for galactic diplomacy. Tay shifted uncomfortably. Your point? Humans understand other minds, even non-human ones. They've practiced this skill for thousands of years with animals. This makes them uniquely qualified for interspecies communication. Mina stepped closer to the delegation. The very thing you dismiss as primitive may be why humans have formed successful first-contact relationships with 17 species that previously rejected Solarian diplomatic efforts. The security officers exchanged glances. This was new information. Theoretical speculation, Tay dismissed. Then allow me a practical demonstration, Mina suggested. She turned to June. Can we show them what Buddy is trained to do? June nodded, understanding immediately. He left the room briefly, returning with his jacket and a small device. I'll go outside and hide, he explained to the delegation. Buddy will find me using only his sense of smell. This skill has saved countless human lives during disasters. The Solarians watched skeptically as June disappeared into the forest. After he was gone, Mina turned to Buddy. Find June, she said simply, the words still feeling strange on her tongue. Find him. Buddy's demeanor changed instantly. His relaxed posture became alert, nose working the air. He moved to the door, looking back at Mina expectantly. Follow him, she told the delegation. See what he can do. Outside, Buddy circled the yard, nose to the ground. He sniffed the air, then set off purposefully into the trees. The Solarians followed, Tay muttering about wasted time. They walked for 10 minutes, deeper into the forest than any of them had ventured before. Suddenly, they heard a faint call. Help! I'm hurt! Buddy barked and raced ahead. The delegation hurried after him, finding the dog standing over June, who lay beneath a fallen log, appearing injured. Good boy, June praised, as Buddy licked his face. He pressed the device in his hand, which emitted a soft beep. Simulated. Rescue complete. Buddy found me in 7 minutes, 12 seconds, fast enough to save a life in a real emergency. Tay stared, his expression conflicted. The animal understood your distress. More than understood, June said, standing up. He cared about it. That's what Mina has been trying to explain. Dogs don't just serve humans. They form genuine emotional bonds with us. Later, back at the cottage, the delegation spoke in hushed tones among themselves. Finally, Tay approached Mina. Your research has a merit, he admitted reluctantly. The High Council should hear these findings directly. This could change our understanding of human psychology. Mina nodded. I will prepare a complete report, but I believe first-hand observation is essential for true understanding. 3 months later, Mina stood on the ceremonial platform at the Interspecies Diplomatic Center. Her new uniform bore the insignia of Special Ambassador to Earth, the first such position created by the Solarian government. Ambassador Mina, do you accept this assignment? Asked the High Counselor. I do, she replied, her voice firm. And you insist on bringing this Earth creature as your diplomatic assistant? Mina looked down at Buddy, sitting perfectly still beside her. Around his neck gleamed a special collar with Solarian diplomatic insignia, another first in galactic history. Buddy is more than an assistant, she explained. He represents the unique bond between species that we hope to learn from Earth culture. The High Counselor nodded reluctantly. Very well. You are authorized to continue your research into human-animal relationships as a model for improved interspecies diplomacy. As they left the platform, Mina noticed a young Solarian child watching Buddy with fascination rather than fear. In the embassy gardens, diplomats from 7 other worlds were cautiously interacting with Earth therapy animals, guided by human trainers. It's working, June said quietly, walking beside her. They're beginning to understand. Mina nodded, feeling Buddy's warm presence against her leg. Sometimes the greatest strength looks like weakness to those who haven't experienced it, she said. Humans didn't just domesticate animals. They created something entirely new through trust and connection. And now, June added with a smile, the rest of the galaxy gets to discover what we've known all along. Buddy looked up at them both, his dark eyes somehow understanding the importance of the moment. Mina placed her hand on his head. The gesture, now as natural as breathing. "Not bad for a monster," she said softly, remembering her first terrified encounter with the gentle giant who had changed her understanding of an entire world.